Hello, Cameron. Thank you so much for joining us today on Chick Chat. We're excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Nina.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Before we discuss how to host a beautiful Thanksgiving for family, including the kids, we'd love to learn more about you, Cameron. So please tell us about yourself, your background, and how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, so I am a born and raised New Yorker, and I am the founder of Forbes Functions, which is a luxury boutique event planning company based in New York and the Hamptons. I started the company almost 3 years ago now, and I've just always been someone who loves gathering, connecting people, and entertaining. And my journey into event planning was really inspired by my love for storytelling, connection. I also have a background in design and public relations. So starting my own business kind of felt like a natural next step, kind of mixing those two loves. And I would say over the years, my passion for, really making people feel special through events and meaningful details has really only grown. And that led me to start Forbes Functions. And now I'm at a place 3 years in where I have an amazing team, an all female team, seven lovely ladies, and we really run the gamut in terms of events. We do everything from super intimate dinner parties, proposals, all the way up to 500-person weddings, charity galas, bigger things like that. So for me, it's so fun. And the most exciting part of working in event planning is just being able to help my clients, turn their visions and their dreams into these memories and realities that will last a lifetime.
Oh, that's so amazing. And it sounds like you said you have PR background, all this different things. So, what was it about specifically, like parties and events, that was just calling your name that you became so passionate?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I said, I love bringing people together. I'm definitely a social butterfly. I think in the events industry, you have to be a bit of an extrovert. And I just think there is something magical about watching guests or clients just light up in an atmosphere that has been really thoughtfully and creatively designed and executed just for them. And
Mm.
I think that, as someone who loves storytelling and is such a creative, I just realize that events and parties really allow you to create these entire worlds, even if it's just for a few hours. And I think, growing up, my big family gatherings, seeing the laughter and the joy around a beautifully set table just solidified that love for events. And then since then, it's kind of been about creating those experiences for others as a way for me to kind of share the joy and passion I love and I have around entertaining.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Gosh. And as you said, gathering around a table, all of this, Thanksgiving is just around the corner. We need to know, like, what does a beautiful Thanksgiving look like to you? Is it about the table setting, the food, the overall vibe? Like, tell us, what is a beautiful Thanksgiving to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think as an event planner, I definitely always look to decor and design, but I think, in general, a beautiful Thanksgiving is about the feeling and the atmosphere in the room, whether that's your living room, dining room, wherever you're seated. And so of course table setting is important. I love using all the harvest colors, natural elements. I'm sure stuff we'll get into later on, but I do think at the end of the day, as we've been talking about, the most important element is really, the warmth and joy of being together, enjoying a beautiful meal, enjoying, a beautiful tablescape, sharing that experience. So I really think it's about creating a setting that makes everyone feel welcome, relaxed, and, able to enjoy themselves.
Oh gosh. So how do we create that atmosphere? This sounds so lovely. I think sometimes when people think of Thanksgiving and family, like, oh, I need to stay away from this cousin or that uncle or this aunt or whatever. So what are your tips? How do we create a Thanksgiving atmosphere that's just cozy and festive, but also kid friendly?
Yeah, and I think that's something that, I think about for clients. I am in my 20s. I don't have any kids. So when I decorate for the holidays or when I'm hosting, that's not really a consideration I have as much, which I think, I realize allows me to get a little bit more creative. I don't have to worry about, little hands pulling things down, as I know some of my clients and friends do. So I think, creating a festive Thanksgiving that kids can enjoy and be engaged in as well is really about balancing, that aesthetic with also kind of practicality. So, you
Mm.
can do the beautiful design and decor with warm colors and textures that feel very autumnal, whether it's, bringing in throw blankets and pillows and lots of candles. But I think it's also about having things that the kids can be involved in. So whether it's allowing them to pick out a centerpiece for the Thanksgiving table, or pick out a couple of different elements, or maybe even, pick some flowers from Trader Joe's that they can put together. I think, really letting them get involved in the hosting experience will, make them feel more engaged, and will also make it more enjoyable for them. And then even if it's, other ways to keep kids entertained, like having some activities, having some crafts out, is just another way to keep people busy while, adding another touch of fun to the occasion.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I'm all about, okay, I'm bringing all the activities and things to make them happy while us adults can still have adult conversations and enjoy rather than just running around dealing with kids and they're all excited to
Definitely.
see their cousins, that whole
And I
vibe.
think too, some of my happiest memories growing up are my parents definitely made it a goal to get my sister and I involved in Thanksgiving,
Mm.
whether that was, assisting with recipes. So, there are some things where I'm like, we should never have children carving a turkey, obviously, but you can definitely get the children involved with doing, things like sweet potato casserole, cranberry sauce, some of those more low lift dishes. And then I think
Mhm.
also with tablescape, letting them pick out their favorite place settings, letting them pick out what color napkins. And one thing my parents did for me was they always let my sister and I create a centerpiece. So whether that was, we're going and picking up a few pumpkins, or they were letting us go to Trader Joe's and buy some flowers and mess around. I think, giving that kind of them the involvement and investment in the night really makes them feel like they're a part of it. And it's not like the adults and the kids.
It's so true. Yes. But I love these tips of like little things for the tablescape and for the recipes and getting them involved because I feel like a lot of times they just think, oh, kids just attend, but really bringing them into the whole celebration is so fun. So I love that these are just some great creative ways to also bring them in onto the celebration. And I feel like traditions are so important, especially during the holidays. Do you have any Thanksgiving traditions that are especially fun for families and kids? And how do they help make the day special for them and the whole family?
Yeah, I mean, I think one kind of tradition we have in my family is definitely, going around the table, everyone sharing something they're thankful for. I think, one way that we have kind of edited out in the recent years is having everyone write down one thing they're thankful for,
Mm.
and, keeping that. I actually think I have somewhere. Oh, I do actually. I have from last Thanksgiving what I was grateful for last year, and then opening it up this Thanksgiving. And I think that, no matter your age, obviously, my little cousins might not have the depth and reflection I have in mine, but I think it really allows anyone of any age to kind of reflect on the year ahead, feel like, you're contributing to the meaning of the day. And I think it's also, just a beautiful way to get everyone involved and start a conversation around, slowing down, being grateful, reflecting.
Yes. Oh, I so agree. We do the same thing at our house, going around the table asking what we're thankful for. But I love how you guys in your family
Yeah.
took it a step
And I
further
think
to really
having the
write that
physical
down.
memento is so awesome. And it also then, creates a little bit of excitement. Like, I don't remember what I wrote last year. So when I open this up on Thanksgiving and, we all share, what has happened in the last year, it's a really great way, I think, especially with kids where there are so many milestones happening so quickly, to see, how much has changed in the last year, how far they've come, what goals have shifted, and then, reflect on, okay, what do I want for next year? And what am I grateful
Yes.
for this year?
Oh, so you need to walk us through how you guys do this because, again, like I said, Thanksgiving it really is all about gratitude. And we're always trying to find some ways to involve kids in expressing gratitude during the day, whether that's through crafts or conversations or activities. And this is such a fun conversation. So, in your family, you guys have these like laid out on the table and you all go to your different spaces and write these out, or do you take these home? Like, tell us how you walk us through this activity.
So I would say when we do just a casual talk around the table, we'll normally, have the head of the table start. Everyone kind of goes through, shares what they're grateful for. Now that we've kind of moved it over to more of a written exercise, what we'll have is during kind of, when everyone's arriving, cocktail hour. I normally have Thanksgiving with my extended family. So it's around 25 or so of us. We'll have, in that charcuterie cocktail hour mingling moment, have everyone take a moment, head off to a separate room, write down a note about what they've been grateful for that year, and then we'll seal it up, and then it will have everyone bring the notes from the previous year and open them up together at the table so they can share, this is what I was grateful for last year. And then we seal, the ones we wrote this year, and the cycle continues on. So I think that, again, really low lift. We literally just have, pens, paper, and some stationery out. Again, I'm an event planner, so of course I have like a custom wax seal and pretty stationery, but you don't have to get this fancy. I just think, again, it's a really good way to slow down. And I think it's a really simple gratitude craft.
Hmm.
Other things I've seen and that we've done for clients are even something like getting up a big piece of craft paper, using it as a tablecloth, putting it up on the wall, and writing down on the table literally with crayon and color pencils what you're grateful for, or up on the wall, a gratitude wall where everyone is adding a sticky note or a paper leaf. So I really think there's a lot of different ways to foster that appreciation and that gratitude and set a positive tone for the meal.
Oh, these are great ideas, Cameron. I love them. Thank you so much. And
Course.
how do you recommend parents get their kids involved in the Thanksgiving prep without it turning into more work for them? Because I think that's when, I mean, I love the ideas of getting them involved in the kitchen, but I know that some parents are like, oh, it's going to take me
Yeah.
3 times longer to cook. But that's part of the process. That's how they learn. But like, do you have any tips for cooking a Thanksgiving meal that everyone will love, from picky kids to adults, or just, yeah, we want to take the stress out?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I reflect, and I remember when I was younger, my mom would say, like, I would always ask with her, can I come to the grocery store with you? And she'd be like, no, because when you come to the grocery store trip becomes 3 hours long. With just me, it's 45 minutes. So I think it's really about giving kids, those more practical helper roles. Like
Hmm.
maybe they are setting napkins, or they're filling water glasses, or they're writing the place cards. Or those smaller moments where they feel like they're part of the celebration, but it's pretty simple and it's not going to overwhelm them or overwhelm the adults. So I think
Hmm.
it's really, choosing age appropriate tasks, setting the table, arranging flowers, adding finishing tip touches, and then having them help with tasks that they already enjoy, or that they can handle on their own. So stirring a batter, arranging a charcuterie platter, just makes them feel like they're an important part of the celebration. And then, as you said, Nina, hopefully without creating extra work for mom and dad.
Yes, I'm here for that always. Yes. So, Cameron, how do you manage the balance between keeping the day just fun and relaxed for kids and parents while managing the more traditional aspects for the holiday for the adults?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really about mixing, the traditional and the modern. And so, maybe while the kids are occupied with games or craft or doing some of the activities I mentioned, the adults can be having some cocktails, sharing in more traditional conversations. I think, another great way to keep the day fun while also preserving tradition is maybe, after dinner, I know it's popular to do, a flag football game or any sort of family game that everyone can enjoy. That's a great way to bring the adults and kids together, make it feel like it's not two separate worlds. So I really think it's about balancing structured activities and free time, so both kids and adults can fully enjoy the holiday. And I think
Hmm.
again, mixing the classics, keeping the classics, but considering kid friendly dishes that might be a little bit easier for them to enjoy, whether it's like a mini turkey slider, a mashed potato bar, just things that are versatile and enjoyable for people of all ages.
Yes. So you're basically, yes, calling me out because you'll make this beautiful meal and then your kid leaves just eating like a roll, a dinner roll. And you're like, cool, that's what we have
And
here.
I think
Great.
about, yeah, I mean, I think about myself. It's like I literally remember being 7, and it's like my Thanksgiving plate was entirely white. It was turkey, mashed potatoes, and a dinner roll.
Yeah.
And it's like there are definitely ways that you can cater to, children's taste while, still including some of the classic Thanksgiving dishes and traditions.
But I love that idea of like a turkey slider. I didn't even think of that. Do you have any other things that I need to think of?
Yeah, I mean, I think nowadays we have so many amazing resources, TikTok, Instagram. Like I am always finding new recipes. Other things that I've been doing for Thanksgiving in general is just like anything with puff pastry. Like there's so many cute things you can make, whether it's savory or sweet. And that's another great thing to get kids involved in, because you just buy the sheet, it's pre-made, it's really easy for them to mess around with their fingers, it's really hard to mess up. Another fun thing that I've done that also is like a bite size is, as opposed to doing, a big platter of stuffing, doing like stuffing in muffin cups, so little stuffing bites the kids can enjoy. So I think, thinking about what is, bite sized, what do kids tend to like? So maybe leading away from the green beans and yams and more towards some of those foods that the kids can't resist. I think, there's just so many recipes out there.
That's so true. I totally agree. But these give us some good ideas on where to start and look to. So I thank you for that. And I'm just curious, as an event planner, like what are your like have to make it a spectacular Thanksgiving, like when you're planning yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's really all about personalization. And I think, it's making each guest feel welcome. So, I'm biased as an event planner. I really am so into design, but I do think, the simple touches of having a place card set for each guest just make everyone feel a little bit welcome. And I think it's those little details that create that truly warm, welcoming space where people feel free to enjoy each other's company. So I don't think you have to overthink it or, go for the perfect tablescape. But I think it's really about, looking at those tiny little details and then just kind of embracing the joy of being, with your friends and family.
That's so true. Yes. And now, like, I have to know what's the most memorable Thanksgiving moment you've had with your family, and how did it shape your approach to hosting the holidays?
Yeah, I think I'm really fortunate. I grew up celebrating Thanksgiving with my family and one of our best family friends almost every year out in East Hampton. And I think, it was amazing. We had our two families, and as I said, our parents always encouraged us to do the centerpieces. So I think, I have so many amazing memories around those Thanksgivings, doing, after Thanksgiving dinner, putting on performances and shows for our families because we were all
Oh,
all sisters. So we would do, when the Hannah Montana movie came out, I remember all of us doing the hoedown throwdown, like a performance after dinner. And then I think also, going out and buying pumpkins and, fighting over how do we stack them to make the centerpiece. And then again, going through the gratitude circles and sharing and just, seeing the people around me, how, they have grown and how everyone has grown up and changed and reflected. So a lot of good memories. And then I also have, some funny Thanksgiving memories, like I'm sure everyone does.
yes.
And, I think for me, as I've grown older and now, I've moved out, I'm in my 20s, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I think Thanksgiving looks so many different ways. Like, for example, this year I'll be in Scotland for Thanksgiving because my sister lives over there and,
Oh,
non traditional, but again, it's all about getting together around a table.
it's true. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about family and gratitude and being with one another, celebrating another year of health, wealth, and happiness, hopefully.
Exactly.
So now I need to know, like, what's the one thing you'd recommend every Thanksgiving host do or not do, either one or both, in like one sentence? What would it be?
I just think it's like plan ahead. Plan ahead would be my mantra. And I think, I was raised, my mother and grandmother were the type of people where, the cranberry sauce was in the refrigerator 2 days before Thanksgiving. So I just think, in events, we prep weeks, months in advance. And Thanksgiving, especially if you're hosting, more than a dozen guests, it's a lot to take on. So I think, starting early in the week, getting things prepped, doing what you can in advance, whether it's doing place cards, prepping a centerpiece, meal prepping what you can, getting your ingredients ready. Those are kind of my top tips because I really just think it's all about, planning ahead so you can actually enjoy yourself on the day of and you're not running around corralling the kids while cooking, while lighting candles, while welcoming guests in and doing 100 other things.
It's so true. Yes. And for those who, maybe don't have family close by, maybe they're doing something more intimate or a friendsgiving. Do you have any thoughts or feedback or recommendations for them?
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, as someone in my 20s who is unmarried and doesn't have kids, I think Friendsgiving has become a really big moment for a lot of 20 somethings and people in their early 30s, especially in, New York and LA and these urban areas. So I think with Friendsgiving, you can really do it so many different ways. So, for example, like I have Friendsgiving actually in 2 weeks. I'm hosting at my apartment with my high school friends from New York.
Mm.
And last year we actually did all Italian. So everyone brought their favorite Italian dishes because, New York, we have the best pizza and Italian. So we had all different types of pasta, pizza, we had cannolis, we had black and white cookies. This year, I think we're all going to do just everyone bring something from their favorite restaurant. So again, like we're not even cooking, we're taking the load off people's plates, but it's really just again about gathering, sharing people's favorite foods, favorite moments, parts of their culture. So, some of my friends are bringing their food. Like my friend who's South Asian is bringing some Indian food. So I think it's all about, just celebrating it with Friendsgiving. It feels to me even more low stakes. It's really truly about, gathering and celebrating your chosen family.
Oh, yes, here to that. I so agree. Because, yeah, if you live far away or if it's just, you're not as close to your family, you can absolutely still celebrate with the ones that you
Yeah,
truly
I
love.
also always say do both because I mean, who doesn't love a good girls' night? So I think no matter what your age, getting your gals together and having a Friendsgiving that is a little bit low stress in the actual holiday and low lift is just a fun way to, kick off the holidays and, just have a moment to reflect and enjoy with friends.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love that. And so now I have to know, though, like on the not to do, is there anything that we should not be doing?
I think the biggest thing not to do is just overthink it. I think, people sometimes get a little bit in their own heads about worrying about the food needs to be perfect or
Hmm.
I need to make sure the seating chart is perfect for, the family dynamics. And I just think, at a certain point you have to let go of perfection and just embrace kind of the chaos of family. And, at the end of the day, people, none of the stories I shared with you, I don't remember, dry stuffing or a burnt turkey. I remember the memories I created with friends and family.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely agree. I so agree. And I love the idea that what you do with your Friendsgiving, like each person brings a different dish. And that's actually what we do with my husband's family. They all ask for each of us to bring a different dish. So they always cook the turkey and all of us bring the other stuff. So it's less work for them, but we're also getting a taste from everyone in the family what they have to offer their maybe favorite dish. And I think that also can be really helpful for families if you're hosting kids thinking about, oh my gosh, I have this entire menu that I need to prepare. I think it's okay to ask our guests to potentially bring a dish. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's totally okay, and I think honestly, post pandemic, I think people are really leaning into the potlucks and bringing in
Hmm.
food and kind of splitting that apart. I just feel like, especially with as someone who's Gen Z younger, I just feel like my age group, it is very much people don't want to put all the pressure on one person. It's kind of
Yeah.
like let's share this responsibility and also like share the cost and everything else that comes with that. And so I think, yeah, even again, talking about my Thanksgivings, we always had, we would switch off one year, our family did the turkey, one year, my family friends did the turkey, and then, the other side would bring all the accoutrement. So I think it's all about dividing up roles and responsibilities. And there's so many ways to make it more low lift on yourself, even as a
Hmm.
hostess, whether that's, handing off some stuff and delegating, or as I said, planning ahead, prepping in advance.
Right. Yes. I think most of us, at least when you're hosting, sometimes you do feel, at least I feel this way, that, oh, if I'm hosting, I need to do it all so they can all relax and enjoy. So I just feel like, is that an awkward ask? Like, how do you even bring that up? Like, hey, we're doing this at my house, but hey, by the way, can you bring a dish? Is that weird? Or like, how do you go about that?
I mean, I think it's as simple as, going on something like a paperless post or a particle and just making a cute invite where, you can phrase it in a fun way, Thanksgiving, everyone bring a dish, turkey's on me or whatever it is. And, there you go. And it's a cute little invite. I can tell you, like, for our Friendsgiving, I very much said, to my group, I'm happy to host. I'll provide all desserts and all beverages. Is everyone else good with bringing food? And everyone was like, perfect. And so I do think that dialogue changes as you get older, but there definitely is, I think, a nice way and respectful way to, encourage a potluck or ask your guest, hey, can you bring something to contribute? And I also think, as a guest, you never want to show up empty handed anyways. So even if
True.
you're not asked to bring, necessarily a dish, definitely bring, whether it's a flower arrangement, a nice bottle of wine, a holiday candle, always bring a hostess gift because as we've been talking about, that host is putting a lot of work in for
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
It's so true. Yes. And I love that idea. Absolutely. And maybe even offer, can I bring a dish? Can I take something off your plate? So then
Exactly.
it kind of becomes the norm. So then it's not just all on one person.
100%. And I mean, as an event planner, again, I'm biased, but whenever I am invited to something, I always like to ask the host, is there anything I can help? Can I bring anything? Is there anything I can contribute? And, I just think that will make sure that you are asked back again and again as a guest. And again, lightens the load for the host. So I definitely, helping out any way you can is really great.
It's so true. And going back to, the kiddos, man, I think so at my Thanksgiving, we typically go to my husband's family because they live closest, and we have all of the cousins. So my kids and all of the cousins, they get together, and because they don't see each other, all the time, they just act like wild animals. I don't know about you listeners, but that's just how it is. And I'm always like, "Hey, calm down, stop running in grandma's house." Blah 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 blah. So we did talk about some activities to do already. I think really talking to the kids ahead of time about, hey, I need you to be a big helper and help with this. We're bringing, like you said, we went to Trader Joe's and we picked out some flowers or some little
Yes,
pumpkins, and I want you to arrange it and do these kind of things. Actually, I'm thinking even this year, I'm going to go to like Target and get some of those ceramic things and have the kids paint. Just any
exactly.
little activities that you can do to keep them preoccupied so that way adults really get that uninterrupted time to enjoy some adult conversation rather than feeling like, here I
Yeah. And I
am.
think
Yes, you're parenting in another location, but you're not on home field turf. You don't have like all of their stuff and toys. So it's like, oh, trying to think of some other ideas to make it a little bit more fun, but also take the edge off for you.
Yeah, and I think as you're saying, it allows, the parents to enjoy themselves, but I think also, you want the kids to feel engaged and invested. And I think, especially as kids get older, I think about, when I was in my teens and, if there's a kids and adult table, sometimes when you're 15, you're like, why am I sitting with all the 7-year-olds? So I think, giving them age appropriate roles and responsibilities can also, make them feel empowered. So, having, maybe saying to one of the teenagers, hey, we're putting you in charge of the kids table. Like, we want to make sure that everyone is well behaved and we really trust you to do that. That shows a sign of respect and empowers them to feel like, okay, I wasn't just left at the kids table. I'm here because, my parents really want me to help out.
Yeah. See, right now in our family, it's everyone is like 7 and under. So I'm like, "Oh gosh, there's always one adult and it's like rock, paper, scissors, shoot who sits at the kids' table to make sure that they're well behaved." But, yeah, it's a good time. It's just trying to make sure. And that's why we're here to learn from you, Cameron. Like, what can we do to just really enjoy it, still make it beautiful and enjoyable, but less stressful, and have the kids have fun too. So, like, to sum it up, the key to hosting a beautiful family focused Thanksgiving, what would you say?
I would say, the keys, as we've been talking about, is really getting the family engaged. So, whether it is asking family members to contribute by bringing a dish or helping with some table settings, giving the kids age appropriate roles and responsibilities like working on a centerpiece, setting the table, helping out with the stuffing or helping out with a dessert display. And then I think, really about creating a warm and welcoming setting, whether that's, a beautiful tablescape or a room with candlelight or a Spotify playlist you love, creating an atmosphere that your friends and family are going to really want to walk into and enjoy themselves.
Oh, see, you're already thinking of all the little details, the Spotify playlist, the candles, the centerpiece, even the little name tags for everyone's seat. I just love it. Oh my gosh. Cameron, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, as I've been talking about, as an event planner, I'm someone who all the time is throwing over the top events, huge flowers, huge rentals, tons of different design and decor elements. And I think at the end of the day, sometimes we can get a little bit carried away. And,
Mhm.
as we've been talking about, the true essence of Thanksgiving is being thankful and being grateful. So, I'm not worried about, on the day of whether, as I said, the turkey is burnt or if the centerpiece isn't perfect. At the end of the day, it's celebrating with friends and family or your chosen family. And, as I said, I'm looking forward to being on the coast of Scotland with me and my little sister, celebrating Thanksgiving, us too, non traditional, but still, it's all about just making that time for the people in your lives that you care about.
Agreed. Oh man. And Cameron, thank you so much. Where can our listeners learn more about you and find you?
Yeah, so our website is forbesfunctions.com, and you can find us on all socials, Forbes Functions on TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest. And my name is Cameron Forbes. You can also just go to our website directly to learn more about me. And yeah, I am just so excited that we chatted and would love to share some more ideas as far as Christmas, hopefully soon.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yep. That's again, the Christmas lights have been up in my neighborhood even before Halloween. They're not turning them on yet, but Cameron, people are ready. So yes, we'll need all the tips.
Yeah,
So
and I
thank you.
as an event planner, we have clients that reach out to us in August for Halloween. So it's like we were getting outreach in September for holidays. So as I said, my number one tip is always plan ahead.
Plan ahead. We hear it. Oh my gosh. Cameron, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your expertise and wonderful tips with all of us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Nina.
Yes. And for our listeners out there to learn more about Cameron, as she said, you can find her at ForbesFunctions.com or on Instagram, TikTok, all the places at Forbes Functions. Our team will be posting today's episode on our Baby Chick social media channels, including our podcast Instagram page at the Baby Chick Chat. So if you have any questions or comments about our discussion, please share them with us in the comment section. And as always, if you haven't already, subscribe to Chick Chat, the Baby Chick podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and leave us a review. Cheers to a beautiful and memorable Thanksgiving with your family.